Alright, I wanted to make this video quickly because some people were asking me, hey, what's that contraption? I think somebody called it a doohickey that you're using to make your espresso. So this is it right here. This is called the ROK. It used to be called a presso, and the concept is very simple. To make espresso, you need to have pressure that's being forced through coffee grinds that you will fill in this portafilter. And it's the same concept as you know, $10, $15, $20,000 espresso machines that you'll see at a coffee shop, and believe me, there's a difference. This doesn't create like 15 bars of pressure, but typically around 8, 9, 10 bars of pressure are what are used at coffee shops, and this can create between 5 and 10 bars of pressure. And the gist of it is simple. You fill this portafilter with coffee, you put it into here, and it's nice tamped coffee, and you're going to take this, fill it with water up to about a half an inch from the top, something like that, and there will be pressure here causing you to, you know, you're creating around 9 bars of pressure, and it's going to make the coffee flow down through here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I just wanted to explain what it is that this is doing and how it does it without electricity and just with human strength and boiling hot water, like right off the boil. And I'm actually going to make an espresso using a coffee that I've been having great success with by a company called Klatch, and it's their Belle, B-E-L-L-E. It's their Belle espresso. So I'm going to show you how I do that right now. So first things first here, we got the water here and the water boiling in my stovetop frother. This is going to be boiling, and I want a nice rapid boil on this before I put it into that machine. But I'm going to let these boil. I'm going to get my coffee ready. Very important, you're going to need a scale. This is a gram scale. This is the only way that you can consistently pull these shots and get things right. So I got a gram scale, and so I'm going to put this little thing on there and tear out the weight. Again, this is my Klatch coffee. It's the company Klatch. It's on the West Coast, and this is their Belle espresso. They've also got one called World's Best Coffee. It's WBC. I think that's what it is. World Best Coffee or World Best Espresso. But anyways, this is what I'm going to be using. And I'm going to weigh out the amount that I know works best in this portafilter for the ROK Espresso machine. This holds around 17 or 18 grams of coffee, at least how I make it. So I'm going to weigh out about 17 and a half grams of this. And I'm just going to put this in my grinder, which I can tell you a little bit about at some other point. But it's a Baratza grinder from the company's Baratza, and the model of this one is the Encore. And I put this on the number 5 setting for espresso. So I'm going to take this that I just used to weigh that out, and I'm actually going to weigh out not only the dose of coffee grinds that I'm going to put into my portafilter, but I'm actually going to weigh out the yield that I get here. You know, how much coffee I'm going to extract. I want to weigh that out too, and get things consistent. And then I'm also going to use a timer, which is just my iPhone. I just set the timer on. But right now, first what I'm going to do, I'm going to warm this coffee cup up very simply, and I'm going to get some water. I'm going to throw it in the microwave for about a minute, dump the water out, and this makes this cup nice and hot, ready for the coffee that's going to come out of the espresso. Okay, I got my warmed cup of coffee, the cup for the coffee, it's all warmed. Then I'm going to set this right here, okay? So this is ready, and I'm going to turn this on and tear out the weight of the coffee cup so that it reads 0 on the scale. Alright, and then right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little detour from the coffee portion and just kind of get ready for making the cappuccino. So I want to I want to froth my milk prior to the coffee. Like, to me, the coffee is the most important part. I want that to be super fresh. This milk can sit for like 30 seconds after I froth it. But then the coffee is the thing that, like, once you start it, you got to get that the coffee is the most important. So I got my milk ready. I'm going to go froth that. Then I'm going to come back here and finish up all the coffee, the espresso part of it here. So as you can hear, my water is just about ready to boil. So that's ready for me to use in the coffee. I'm going to go ahead and froth my milk. Trick with this, and this is not the perfect cup or the perfect stovetop frother, but the trick behind it is keep the tip of it just underneath the surface. You don't want to hear real loud, you know, like this noise. You don't want to hear that real loud. You just want to hear it more subtly. And the real, you know, I can't really do it perfectly while I'm showing the camera this, but the trick is to get this to go around in a kind of like a whirlpool. And you want this to not be so dry foam. You want it to stay real moist and shiny looking. So this is pretty much almost about ready. You can tell by touching the cup when it's almost too hot to touch. This milk is ready. And I did get a little bit too much air in it because I can see the bigger bubbles. But the trick to that is to bang it on something. I'm going to do it here so you can see, but normally I bang it on my countertop, and that kind of helps break up those big bubbles. And you want to move this around like this until you can kind of see it nice and shiny and everything. Again, so this milk, for the purposes of this video, this is going to be fine. My main goal is to show you how to use the ROK. So I'm going to just set this aside over here. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you all of this stuff before I go ahead and do it, because when I'm doing it, I don't really want to talk so much. I just want to do it because this is what it's all about. You got to get this right. I want to focus. And what I'm going to be going for is, these beans have not yet been ground. I want them as fresh as possible from being ground to here to extracting the espresso, the coffee that I'm going to make. So first I'm going to ground this. It's going to fall in this bin. I'm going to take that bin out and I'm going to put that into this. I'm going to tamp it. I'm going to just hit it twice. I'm going to then put a little bit more in there and top it off. And then I'm going to take this tamp and I'm going to apply about 35 pounds of pressure, something like that. Or it's between 30 and 40 pounds. And I'm going to tamp those down, put it in there, put the water in, and I'm going to try to pull this. The goal is to do two things. Three things. You want to get the dose right. So for me, that's 17.5 grams. You want to get the tamp of those grinds to about 35 pounds of pressure. How you know that? It's not a perfect science. Just tamp it. It'll work. If it doesn't work good the first time, tamp it harder the next time. Then pulling this and getting the pressure so that it takes you about 20. For me, I want it to take about 25 or 26 seconds on my timer, and I want the yield here on my gram scale to read out somewhere around 40 grams, which is around 1.5 ounces worth of espresso. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to get ready to go ahead and do that right now. Got my timer. My scale has been zeroed out. It's ready to go. These are down, which is where you want it to be when you put the water in. Got my tamp ready. So I'm going to fill this up. I use my hand kind of like a little funnel to help guide the coffee. Okay. So I'm going to just hit that twice. I'm going to take the rest of these grinds and put them in there. Okay. And some may get out a little bit here and there. That's fine. So you can see about how tall it is there. Okay. We just take this, tamp it, twist it a little bit to smooth out the top. I'm just going to get rid of the rest of those grinds. Normally I have something to make it cleaner here, but that's fine. I'm going to lock this into position. My timer and everything's ready. The only thing left to do is get that water and put it in. So for right now, I'm going to move this over here just a little bit more so you can see it better. And I'm going to go for it. So again, I'm doing this part left-handed. I'm going to fill this up about 1/2 inch from the top of that plastic, and there's a key here. When you lift these arms up, do not lift them up too fast, okay? You want to go slow, or this water will gurgle itself right over top and kind of ruin your whole little neat thing. So remember, I got coffee grinds in there now, and right now the water's falling down there and it's kind of pre-infusing, which is good. It helps to get the coffee ready. I leave that for about 2 or 3 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds, and I do what's called pre-pumping. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's a lot of pressure. I'm now going to start my clock, and I might be a little bit in the way. I'm going to try not to be. And it's hard pressure. My clock's at now 5, 6, 7 seconds. Got a beautiful flow. It's at 10 seconds, and I've got 12, 13, 15 grams of yield. I'm trying to get it to read about 40 in about 25 or 26 seconds. When it hits 26 seconds, I'm done. I'm stopping. Okay, pulling that out because I don't want any more bitter coffee in there. And I'll go ahead and show you what I got. So, well, unfortunately for the purposes of this video, I wanted to stop this timer, but when I get going, I just don't take time to do that for the video. But that is great crema. If I had that in a glass, you'd be able to see better. But it's 43 grams, and it took me only 26 seconds, even though that says 52 right now. It's because I left it running. I'm going to go ahead and get the milk for this. Okay, just going to do this for the camera more so than anything else. I don't normally pour it from this side. Actually, it's almost impossible. I need to come up from the other side to finish this up. And let's just finish this up with a little bit of that. So normally mine looks a little bit different, but just for the sake of having it done, there it is. It looks beautiful. Again, the foam is a little bit drier than I would normally do it because I was doing it with my left hand and this and that. But the point is really more to show you this, that the freshness of the coffee and the attention that you pay to pouring in the right amount, to dosing your coffee grinds properly, and to paying attention to how much, you know, water's going through the grinds and getting everything right. That's how you make a good espresso. I mean, it's great. That dose that I do, it winds up being about 1.5 ounces or 45 grams, something like that. And then maybe about a total of like 3 to 4 ounces of coffee. So it's not like some super crazy rush of caffeine, and it's not a ton of fat. It's great. And the taste of this, if you do it right and you warm the coffee to that point that I said where you almost can't touch the metal froth pitcher, the milk is sweet enough, you don't need to add sugar to it, and it's delicious. So anyways, hope that's helpful. Sorry this was a little bit longer than what I thought it would be, but it takes a little time to show this, and hopefully, you know, somebody gets something out of it. Cheers. And by the way, I don't ever use this like this. I think it's a little corny. It takes away from the manliness of all that pressure. I like to more hold the cup, let that thing just stick out of there. Cheers.